Hey guys, this is science day 2. So just like day 1, we're going to use the information and the sources to help us answer the questions. So at the top, it says use information about heating with solar energy and your knowledge of science to answer questions 5 through 8. So if you notice, with the heating and the solar energy, this kicks us way back to the beginning of the school year when we had Ergstown, and we talked about the different ways that energy can be converted. We talked about the different sources of energy, if they were renewable or non-renewable. And so this is a really good review of that information that we learned in the beginning of the year. So just like day 1, I'm going to read through each source, and then together we'll go through each question. So it says heating with solar energy. Many homes are heated by using electricity. Electricity is usually produced in a power plant. The electricity is then delivered to homes through wires. Other homes are heated by burning fuels such as natural gas. These fuels must be transported in homes through pipes. Some homes are heated by using solar energy. Energy from the sun can also be used to heat water. Figure 1 and Figure 2 show 2 methods of heating a home in different parts of the country. The steps for each method are also shown. So here's Figure 1, heating with electricity from solar energy. So remember that solar energy comes from the sun, and of course we have to use solar panels. So the sun puts out light energy. And the solar panels suck up all that light energy and turn it into electrical energy. And then from there, where we have the electric box, it then turns that electrical energy into heat energy. And so that's pretty much what the steps here are telling us. Panels collect energy from the sun. Cells in the panels transform the energy into electricity. The electricity from the cells is changed into a form of electricity that can be used in the home. So electrical energy to electrical energy. And then step 3, the electricity is used to power an electric heater. So now we're going from electrical energy to heat energy. Let's look at Figure 2. Heating with water warmed by solar energy. So again, we're using solar energy, which means we have our sun, and our sun is giving out light energy to our solar panels. And then our solar panels are giving out electricity to our water heater, and then our water heater is giving heated water or to the heated components of the home. So again, we're going to look at each step. Step 1, panels collect energy from the sun, which is what they're doing here. Step 2, a liquid that resists freezing is pumped through the panels. The liquid becomes hot. So at step 2, there's liquid in here that resists freezing, and it becomes hot. Then in step 3, the liquid is pumped through closed pipes into the water heater. So here we have our water heater. And then step 4, water that is heated by the liquid in the pipes is pumped out of the water heater. So they go through these pipes, the heated water. The water moves into room heaters in the home. So here is a room heater in this home. A room heater will heat only one room at a time. All right, so now we have another source, our Table 1 energy sources. It says at the top, solar energy is a renewable source of energy with little impact on the environment. Table 1 shows how energy is produced from different sources. It also shows the impact each source has on the environment. So remember that energy sources, a source of energy is where energy comes from. So I'm going to circle source, and off to the side, I'm going to write this is where energy comes from. So the different energy sources that we have here are biofuels, coal, natural gas, which we're pretty familiar with, oil, pretty familiar with, solar energy, pretty familiar with, and wind energy, which we're also pretty familiar with. You may not be familiar with biofuels or coal too much. So the source of energy is where energy comes from. Then in our table, it tells you if it's renewable or non-renewable. So let's talk about the difference. Renewable means that it can be made again. So can be made again, or you can think of it as it won't run out. So it won't run out. If it's non-renewable, that means that it can run out. So our Earth can only produce so much of coal, but once we're out, we're out. Eventually, over millions of years, we can get more, but it's not as easy as if we were to use biofuels, which won't run out. So renewable, it won't run out, can be made again. Non-renewable, it can run out, and it's going to take a very long time for it to be made. So for each source, it tells you if it's non-renewable or renewable. This is going to be extremely important. Then it tells you energy is produced when. So whenever biofuels are burned, then energy is produced. When coal is burned, then energy is produced. When the natural gas is burned, then energy is produced. When oil is burned, energy is produced. When the sun is shining, energy is produced. And when the wind is blowing, energy is produced. And then lastly, we have the impact of each of these on our environment. All right, so there's our three sources. So let's look at question 5. It says use the information in figure 1 to answer the question. Which energy conversion happens in step 1? So here we have our figure 1, and it wants to know specifically what happens at step 1. So what conversion, energy conversion, is happening at step 1? So I'm going to look specifically at step 1. It says panels collect energy from the sun. So the sun shining its light onto the solar panels. Think about what kind of energy that would be. Then cells in the panels transform the energy into electricity. So it's going from one type of energy to another type of energy. So make sure that whenever you go and look, we have solar energy is converted to light energy. Well, we do have solar energy, but is it being converted to light energy? No, it's telling us here that it's being converted into electricity. We have heat energy is being converted to solar energy. Nope, we're not starting with heat energy, so that's not correct. Electrical energy is converted to heat energy. Again, we're not starting with electrical energy. And then D, solar energy is converted to electrical energy. So we do have our solar energy, and down here we know that it's being converted into electrical. All right, number 6. Use the information in table 1 to answer the question. So now I'm going to pull my table 1 source to answer our question. It says, which statement describes two ways that wind power and solar power are most alike? So in our table, I specifically need to just look at my wind power and my solar power. Well, I can see that they are both alike in the sense that they are renewable. So when I look at my answer choices, A says that they're both non-renewable, so that can't be correct. B also says that they're both non-renewable, so that can't be correct. C and D do tell me that they are renewable, so that means you're looking between these two answers. C says both are limited in when they are available. And then D says both are available at all times. So let's think about our sun and our wind. Is the sun always shining every day, 24 hours? No. Is the wind always blowing every day, 24 hours? No. Sometimes the sun goes away and it's hiding behind clouds, or it's nighttime. Sometimes it's extremely hot outside and we don't have any wind going on. So use that to help you answer question 6. All right, number 7. It wants us to use figure 2 to answer the questions. Excuse me. All right, so I'm gonna pull my figure 2 source, which is here. All right, it says, which evidence shows that energy is transferred from place to place by light? So we're looking at energy being transferred by light. So when we look at our answer choices, the liquid that resists freezing is moved by the pump to where the light is shining. Is that energy being moved by light or energy being moved by water or electricity? Okay. B, energy from the hot water is used to heat up the room heaters. Well, did answer B give us any indication about energy being transferred by light? C, the liquid that resists freezing is used to heat up the water in the water heater. So again, did this statement give us any indication that energy is being transferred by light? And D, energy from the sun is used to heat up the liquid that resists freezing. Well, again, if you remember, the sun gives off what type of energy? Light energy. So think about that whenever you go through your answer choices for part A. Part B, which energy conversion happens in the answer to part A? So if we're going looking for light energy, obviously our energy has to come from light. So A, heat energy is converted to light energy? No, because we want to start off with light. Light energy is converted to heat energy. Well, yes. Here we have our light energy, and everything else that's happening is being all converted into heat energy. And we can see that from our steps. The water heater, the liquid becomes hot, the water that's heated, a room heater. So we're starting off with light, but then it's moving into all these energy of heat. Electrical energy is converted to light energy, or light energy is converted to electrical energy. So make sure you pay close attention, because part B goes with part A's answer. All right, lastly, it says use the information in table 1 to answer the question. So again, I'm gonna pull my table 1 source. Okay. It says a family wants to use a renewable source of energy for heat in the winter. Okay, so good information here. They want to use a renewable source for heat that's in the winter. Okay, so in our table, we only want to look at our renewable. Well, that's solar, that's wind, and that's biofuel. So we only have 3 options here that we can look at. The family lives on a ranch in a windy area with very few hours of sunlight in the winter. Okay, so again, a lot of good information. They're telling us that they live in a windy area and there's very few hours of sunlight. So think about that. Is there a lot of sunlight going on in their area? And a lot of sunlight in the summer. So there's not a lot in winter. There is a lot in the summer. But remember, in our first sentence, it says a family wants to use a renewable source of energy for heat in the what? Winter. Identify which energy source would work best for the family and explain your selection. So, between these three renewable sources, you want to figure out which one's going to be the best for the family to use. So, remember that you'll type in your claim. You'll need to support it with evidence. And remember, your evidence is coming from a table. So you may want to say, the table shows, or the table states. And then lastly, you want to have your reasoning. All right, guys. Remember, you can always come back to these videos if you get stuck on a question, so that you can hear me explain through it again.